Hi guys, how's it going? It's JP from Bax Music, and I'm having a look at another Misha Mansoor signature guitar that was released over a year ago or so. Really popular models. This is an absolutely beautiful deep blue finish. I really like it. We already looked at one on this channel, which was a tiger sort of amber finish, and that was the 6-string model. This is the 7-string, which is pretty similar, but if you haven't seen it, go and check out that demo. It's a lot of good fun. So this has Misha's signature Juggernaut pickups in here, which are really cool. We'll get into that. There is a 5-way selector for that and a push pull as well, so there's heaps of different things we're going to get from that. And a single volume master volume control. We've got this Hipshot bridge, and we've got 24 frets at 26.5 inch scale, so an extra inch bigger than a normal Super Strat, like anything else, or like a regular Jackson Dinky 7. So it's a bit more of a stretch, but it's necessary really. When you think about the tuning that Misha might play in, A flat on a 7-string, so everything needs to be a bit tighter, a bit beefier. Advantages for those who don't know much about scale lengths: having a slightly longer scale. Two things really, main things. You can use slightly thinner strings, and you can get away with using those if you're trying to down tune perhaps, or even if you're keeping your string gauge the same when you're down tuning. Intonation is a lot healthier. It's a lot easier. So there's some benefits of that. We've got this really cool Periphery inlay, which is really nice. It's a Periphery P logo. We've got locking tuners as well for extra stability, which I think is great. And something really cool, which I think I'd love to see this adopted on other models, not just Jackson, on any kind of Super Strat or a lot of guitars, is the truss rod is actually here, and it's coverless. You don't need a cover for it. So you actually kind of just put in the Allen key on top. What would be the point of, on like a 7-string guitar where the 7th string is in the middle? If you were to have the truss rod cover at the top, trying to put an Allen key in there isn't very easy. You have to slack the string and move out the way, etc. I'm sure you can see the problems. So having that right here in the middle is really easy to try and move that and to change that. So I think that's a really cool point. Such a small thing, but it's things like that from Misha that he's kind of incorporated in this guitar. He's obviously thought about the ultimate dream machine. For those who don't know much about Misha Mansoor, a pioneering guitarist in the progressive metal scene, the movement, and he's obviously been with many guitar companies in the last 5 to 10 years. So he's taken aboard all the ideas that he likes, I guess, and put them in one guitar for just the ultimate machine. Another really cool consideration I think of Misha is actually a single piece neck, and typically on these kind of Super Strats you have multiple pieces of wood, and often that's seen as a tonal advantage and also tuning stability. But how Misha likes to put it, and how lots of other people put it in the theory, is that if you're an internationally touring guitarist going across the world, and suddenly you play a show on one side of the US, which is nice and sunny and hot, and you come over to Europe, etc., where it's going to be -20, because of the temperature changes, the woods will warp at different rates, so that could cause damage to the neck, but probably more immediately you're going to have tuning issues. So being on the road and just having a single piece of wood is probably going to be a bit easier to set up, because there's not much you can really do about temperature changes, I guess. So I think that's a really cool consideration. It's a very sleek profile. It is kind of D-shaped to me anyway, the way that I feel it. And it's nice and beefy, I think. It's not the thinnest neck, but it doesn't really need to be, not with this kind of guitar. When you consider how thin the body profile is as well, it's an incredibly thin guitar. Almost reminds me of like an Ibanez Sabre kind of thing, where you have the bevels going on either side, on both sides of the guitar. So it's really nice and comfortable, but it's not going to be slipping off your knee or anything. Never running out of features to talk about with this guitar. There's so many different things that have been incorporated. On the side, I'll try and show you as best as I can to the camera, but you've got these side dots which actually glow in the dark. They're called lume inlays, so luminous inlays. When you're playing on stage and it's black and you can't really see where you're going, especially when you have a light show like Periphery, if you think about how active they are on stage, it can be quite hard to see your guitar with all the lights coming on you and things like that. But having the side of your neck glowing in the dark, at least you can still play in the dark. So obviously the considerations of this guitar are all about Misha and ultimately his career and all the nice things he would have found in guitars, and he's put that into just the ultimate machine. And not only is it great on paper, it obviously looks fantastic. But enough about what's on paper, enough about the looks. Let's hear how it sounds. Let's check out some sounds from this guitar. guess now we're really starting to talk about the pickups. So these are from Bare Knuckle, which are very very interesting, very almost boutique style pickups, although they've really been growing and now are coming stock on some manufacturers like Ibanez, for instance, for 2017. So I think that's pretty cool. Moving on to the pickups now. These are Bare Knuckle Juggernaut pickups. Bare Knuckle are a British company that have been supplying pickups for lots of innovative and new players. They're always keeping an eye out for those who really change the game musically. Players such as Misha, obviously working with companies like this to develop pickups. They've got the bulb etch on them, so you can see it's got the little Misha light bulb logo on there, which I think is really cool. These pickups are passive. They are very focused on the two main sounds that you kind of get with progressive metal, which one is very driving rhythms, very mid-focus rhythms. They kind of have this weird sort of honking sound in them in the picking, and clean sounds, really. Very pingy, very glassy, high attack clean sounds. And typically, you'd only get those sounds with lots of processing, like digital modelers or pods, etc. Running this through a really, it's a very organic amp actually, as a Laney. It's not ideally suited for just metal or for this kind of metal. It's an all-rounder Marshall style head. And you can hear that those cleans are actually very focused, especially when I'm playing higher notes or those bigger drop tune chords where I'm touching the higher strings. Those are really coming out. They're very full of attack. So these are the kind of sounds you're getting from these pickups. Very focused, very driven, very, very, very high attack sounds, which I think is cool. That was just the bridge pickup by itself, but it's a 5-way selector, and we also have a push-pull switch, so we can get heaps of different sounds. And we also had a look at that on the 6-string video if you wanted to check that out on our channel. Let's mess around and let's go through a couple different sounds for our cleans. Simply playing 3 notes there, but just moving the pickup selector, and I also had the pull switch, had that up. So you can hear we had a variety of different sounds there, which is really suitable, especially for writing around ideas. I find that pretty useful, just changing a pickup selector and getting a totally different voicing. So it was nice to have that. And you can hear that when I changed it to the bridge pickup there, even though I was the pull was engaged, it's still breaking up a little bit. So I guess that's kind of the very aggressive nature of the Juggernaut bridge pickup. Let's check out some distorted sounds. Just having lots of fun doing some repetitive chugging there. What I really wanted to highlight was just how consistent and how consolidated that bridge pickup really sounds. Running this through more of like a Marshall style head, so perhaps not the most suited for the kind of metal that I'm trying to describe, but even so, having such a focused and tight bridge pickup really shows. Let's check out the neck pickup in the same kind of situation. Really awesome sound, but you can hear that it's slightly backed off in terms of output anyway from my cab and my ears. I can really hear it's a little less distorted, and the actual volume output is a tiny bit less. Let's check out both the pickups together in a rhythm situation. Much nicer, much balanced sound. I think it's really nice to have the aggressiveness of the bridge and still have the focus of the neck. Let's check out a couple different sounds. Just going back to that drop tune with that low A flat and just hearing how consistent that sounds. With the stock strings that even came with it, it sounds perfect, and they're probably matched to the A flat tuning, so that probably explains why. But even just playing simple chord based things is sounding really tight and very aggressive. I'd love to record this guitar and actually hear how that sounds. The highlight of this guitar, really, all the awesome technical features I described earlier, but the juggernaut pickups and the pickup configuration is really where this guitar shines. Especially if you're actually looking to purchase this guitar, a bedroom musician, someone who's a really avid aspiring songwriter, a guitar like this is obviously going to really push your limits. You're going to be working with so many different sounds that you might not have access to before. And twin with a really nice amp or even a processor, you're going to get tons of different results. So lots of things to be had in a guitar like this. If you want to find out more about it, you can click on the links above and below and go to the product page, read a little bit more about the specifications there. Or if you want to see more guitar demos, you come to the right place. We've looked at guitars, amps, pedals, loads of different things in between. So please come check out our channel and subscribe to us.